into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Sing it, June. Ho, ho, ho. I only know the Big Papa part.
Me too.
I love it when you call me Big Papa. Hello, AfterBuzzers. Welcome to another Fresh Off the Boat after show. We're talking about episode 5 called Persistent Romeo. Before we get into tonight's amazing episode, please do check us out, youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. Subscribe to our channel, and of course, look on iTunes and SoundCloud. We are there as well. Pretty much we want you guys to just keep leaving those comments. You know, we've been getting a lot of good interaction, you know, a lot of good interplay with you guys, so keep them coming, keep them coming.
Definitely.
And of course, tweet at me. I'm your host, Kanika Lal. You can follow me at Kanika Lal, and of course, my lovely co-host for tonight.
Aw, thanks, Kanika. Yes, you guys can find me on Twitter at ms_Junli.
Perfect. So tonight's episode.
Yeah,
What'd
so
you think?
much
Did
fun.
you like it? Yeah, it was.
I really
It
like
was.
it. Yeah, it's just really interesting to see Eddie just go through like the normal things that a normal kid goes through.
Exactly.
Just with like a different spin, and of course Jessica is always hilarious.
Oh, I know. The whole family is. So we pretty much start off with Eddie. I kind of want to go back to the whole 90s theme because you keep seeing that in every episode.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we see is that he wants to be invited to a sleepover.
Yeah.
And that just brought me back to the 90s about how my fun was going to a sleepover and hanging with my friends.
Is that like a 90s thing? Do kids not do that anymore?
I don't know. Kids these days just kind of want to go crazy. They want to follow their older siblings and go to clubs. This is speaking from personal experience.
Even like, wait, like, is there like, which clubs are elementary kids going to these days? I had no idea about this whole trend.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it was a lot more popular back then.
Wow.
Maybe.
I think you're right. You don't hear about sleepovers as much.
Yeah, like, oh, let's go. Yeah, like slumber parties and things like that.
I still like sleepovers.
Yeah,
with my girlfriends.
I totally would. I wouldn't leave that because we're true 90s kids at heart.
Right.
So yeah, he wants to get invited, and I think he got some big points because from the last episode, what was it? The girl's name, the next door neighbor.
Oh, Nicole.
Yes, Nicole. Yeah. So I think he got some points with that.
Yeah. So he has points with, you know, I think he got points for honey.
Yeah, honey.
Going for the butt grab.
Yeah, the butt grab.
He got major points for that.
So that got invited him to the sleepover. And apparently the sleepover is going to be really dirty because we're looking at Sports Illustrated magazines.
I know, watch out. Sports Illustrated, watch out.
So that's that.
It is pretty racy though, Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, I guess you could have some half-naked woman, maybe.
Like
I don't
racy
know.
photos. I can see why it's pretty. To them, it's racy and dirty.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So of course Eddie brings it up in the dinner table in the next scene, and Jessica goes crazy because
not having it.
Yeah, because apparently she's been watching the nightly news. She kept referring that to the whole episode. And I want to just pause for a second because of the whole incident that happened with Brian Williams. I'm not sure if this is just perfect timing and keep mentioning nightly news, but that's kind of ironic.
I think you see that happening a lot in these kind of newer kind of shows. Like we saw that in Selfie also, where like where like you know the timing is just oddly perfect.
Yeah,
I don't know how that happened.
I don't know how much long ago they wrote this episode, but it was just kind of fluky. Maybe
just tweak it.
They could have just had her added it. I don't know. But anyway, she kept mentioning that, which I thought was pretty funny. But maybe she was just supporting Brian Williams. Who knows? But she was really afraid of Eddie getting in trouble with pedophiles because that's what she would find at a sleepover. It's okay. My mom is super paranoid. Literally, I'm not sure if you've experienced this with your mom. Has she like been like, no, June, you can't because I saw this in the news?
You know, I gotta say, one thing I need to give my mom credit for is, you know, she's always been very kind of like hands off and like very trusting. Like she's always kind of treated me as a grown up, even with like allowance, you know, like how some parents are kind of hover, kind of like, you know, they want you to use the money in a certain kind of way.
Right.
If I wanted to buy 10, you know, stickers, the same stickers, my mom was like, okay, it's your money, you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
She's a single mom, you know.
Right.
So
okay.
I spent a lot of time like, you know, kind of taking care of it myself or with the nanny. So
right.
like I've always been very independent.
That's good. That's good.
And I'm very thankful for it. Yeah.
That's lucky you, because every single time I like check my email or I see a text, my mom sent me something in the news, or like a Uber incident, or you know, a kidnapping, which is scary out there, but it's like every single 5 minutes I'm like, oh god. So that definitely reminded me a lot about Jessica.
I gotta say though, when I was living in downtown, when that whole crazy scare happened, you know, they found the girl's body in the water tank.
Right.
That was literally right next to me. Like that hotel was like across the street from me. During that time, my mom was freaking out. Yeah, but that's
it's inevitable. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So she was freaking out on the dinner table, and then the next thing you know, Louis comes in, and really good news about the restaurant, it was full.
Yeah.
They didn't even have more they didn't have open spaces.
This is a great news.
Yeah, it showed him like be like, oh great, now what? Like, do we have to have like a waiting list? So it's a good next step, you know. It may be small, but it's actually it's huge.
Yay.
So that's good. But then Jessica was a little worried because of liability issues.
Right.
So she was making sure that their insurance was covering food poisoning, but it wasn't covering. Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Because of the nightly news.
Yeah.
But it wasn't covering. It was not covering sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Which leads us to how this episode is about sex.
Yeah. Which, you know, I gotta say was very like refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was not expecting that conversation between Louis and Eddie to go that way. And I think, you know, Louis deserves a lot of cred. He's
definitely
very forward thinking. Eddie's dad is, you know, awesome.
We'll definitely talk about that because it wasn't something that you would expect for your father to say, and they twisted it up in a pretty comedic way, so I like that. So of course Jessica gives the sex seminar to the coworkers, and
awkward.
A little bit, but hey, that actually brings a lot of more points to Eddie, because he didn't know what dirty movie to show for the sleepover.
So it did work out for the best.
Because Eddie actually, he was like, hey guys, because it showed about back to the school, he was like, hey guys, you know, I can't come to the sleepover, can we do it at my place? They're like, no. He's like, wait, I have a dirty movie though. So that was like, okay, good. But he didn't know what to show. But there you go, the sexual harassment tape from his dad.
It all kind of worked out. Eddie's kind of like that, and I imagine he's kind of like that in real life too. He kind of just like, you know, kind of will just say something and figure it out later.
He goes with the flow. Exactly. That actually reminds me of a lot of characters that we've seen kind of growing up, and like I don't know, I'm thinking of like Boy Meets World right now, and like like male characters like that we saw growing up, like how they just like say something in the spot, but then like they're so smooth, it all just kind of like
it all just kind of works itself out. But that's kind of how life is, and I think I like that because, you know, I think television and movies and entertainment in general like have immense power, you know, and I think it's important to kind of like teach younger people, like sometimes you just gotta like go with the flow and try and, you know, kind of like,
it's all about improvisation, right? So.
I'm studying entrepreneurship, and that's what so like for us it's always like dream big, and then figure it out, you know what I mean? Like don't be afraid to go after audacious goals. And I like that. I feel like Eddie is like that.
I mean, don't go and like, you know, make dirty tapes.
Don't do that
and get that famous for you.
But, don't do that.
So I think it was so funny though, because after the tape was shown, it kind of went viral, like videos go today, but instead everyone was making copies of those tapes, which goes back to the whole 90s, so like about the difference between the 90s and it is today. I love how everyone was just like watching those tapes and then getting kind of off from it.
I know, it was so funny when they were doing that montage of the kids like, hey, so you want to, you know, take one for the road. She was like, where? Like,
what road?
What road? What are you talking about? It was just
cheesy pickup lines, right?
Hilarious. I know. It was so funny.
It's so funny watching those little kids.
I love the girl with the braces.
Oh yeah,
with the super intense braces.
I know.
Those are no joke.
No, I know.
It's hard to come by one of those. I wonder where they even got one.
Oh, those braids. Yeah. Well, first of all, I wonder how she even put it on.
I know.
Right? She probably was really uncomfortable for those 10 seconds she was on screen. I can imagine.
She still looked super adorable, though.
No,
by the way. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those tapes went viral, and of course that got Eddie in trouble because they traced it back to him.
Right, and Jessica's
it shows Jessica and Louis back in the principal's office, and he's like, okay, teach your kid about sex. Give him the talk.
I like how the principal is like, okay, like everyone is reincarnating sexual harassment scenarios is not the issue. The issue is that they think this is sex. That's the issue. I think the principal is so hilarious. And then Jessica's like, why are we here? Like, why are we here? Like, why are we always here? And then she teaches him about like the whole Bloods and the Crips things, which I totally thought was hilarious. She's like, I'm going to Applebee's later. You think I'm good? And she's like, no, I don't think you are. And she's so serious about it. But yeah, so like the principal is like flower watering can, which I don't remember.
So let's talk about the talk, right? Because this leads us to Louis giving the talk to Eddie. Now, have you ever had the talk, June?
Okay, so I had a very interesting sexual education, sex ed class in elementary school.
Okay.
And it was very intense. Like very, very intense. Like it not only went over, all of the stuff, like Jane and John, I think were their names, and like they even showed like the little like semen going through the egg and like all of that stuff. But then like we talked about drugs and stuff like that also.
Okay.
And then like it just got really crazy.
Yeah, the only thing that I remember is putting a condom on a banana.
Wow,
that was my sex ed. There you go.
Really? They actually made you put a condom?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's intense.
I went to an all-girls school, so you can imagine how they were like, oh my god, when you leave here, your hormones are going to go wild. So.
Oh my goodness.
But at age, Eddie is how old? He's in, oh my god, I'm forgetting how old he is in the episode actually. He's in middle school.
Right, so he has to be like, 11.
I'm sure
I think 11. I think he's 11.
Yeah, so I'm sure Louis, when he found out that he had to give the talk, which was good that father and son, he was probably like, oh God, like, what do I say? But how do you think it went?
I actually feel like Louis wasn't nervous, and he was kind of ready, and he was really going in detail, like about talking about, well, first of all, he opens with, dude, part of the reason why I wanted to come to America so that you can have more sex.
I love that. I was like, that came out of nowhere.
Wow, like that's like wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you make a good point, because it was interesting because he brought up the fact about how in Taiwan it was very conservative.
Right.
People didn't talk about it. And that, I'm sure that relates to just like you yourself, because like of course like in India it's a very conservative thing. Except we do have the Kama Sutra, so it's kind of like weird.
I know.
But at the same time, like you have to wait till you're married and all that. But I'm sure Louis wanted to give Eddie more freedom out here.
Yeah.
He wasn't like, don't do it tomorrow, but
it's amazing.
He approves.
It's amazing how American Louis is, and I don't want to make it seem like, oh, Americans are so great and they know it all. That's not
I would just say more.
That's not what I'm saying. Right. He's so kind of
adaptable.
He's practical. He's saying you got to make sure that you and your partner for life mesh well in all aspects. He was like, it just so happened that your mom and I. And he was like, ew, too much information. I don't want to know about that.
But I love how he kept saying, like, he kept going in, what did he say? Like
he was just going into detail, like.
No, he was like Maryland crabs, then he brought like.
Like don't go to Arkansas or something like that. Right. And spring break and all of these different things. And I totally understand why that moment would stand out to Eddie, because writing about his life and stuff like that, I can totally understand that moment sticking out, because it was a man-to-man talk.
Right.
Louis really treated Eddie with respect, and Eddie felt that.
Yeah.
And that to me was a really beautiful moment.
No,
I
definitely.
keep saying that, and I feel like
it was so
cheesy,
beautiful
but
that in the next 2 minutes, Jessica came and like attacked Eddie with the big doll.
She's like, you like that? They don't like it either. They don't like it either. You like
she is so, she has no filter. She's so fierce. I love that woman.
I love her.
I mean, she's such a mother, you know? Like, and I love how
I wish we could get her in here. That would be so amazing.
We will. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
we'll try. But I love how in the end she was just like, you know, I'm not gonna say sorry to Eddie.
I know.
My birth to him is a worth of a lifetime of sorries. And that's so true. Like, do you think that she should have said sorry in that?
Well, you know, here, I guess if we're gonna, I mean, here's like a little prediction. I think that something will happen where Jessica is going to apologize. And I think this is kind of like a setup for that. And, you know, I do think it's like a big part of Asian culture, like not to express your love, not to apologize. You know, it's kind of a cultural thing. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I was actually reading somewhere just a little bit more about Asian Americans, like how they don't really show that much affection towards one another. Yeah. So people were just like, oh, why is, you know, Jessica and Louis keep kissing and hugging? It's not really a common thing. That's just what I read. I mean, I'm not sure if I agree with it. But you make a point, like, you don't have to always say sorry or I love you to show the affection. Like, she gets it. She knows. So.
And Louis and Jessica are very kind of modern, even for like that time.
Right.
Like Jessica is going to have the talk with Eddie, and Louis is like, oh, hell no.
I know.
I was like, yeah.
I know.
They're so cool. They're so young and hip, and you know what I mean, and with it.
Right.
You know? So I think that's just the way they were. Yeah. I genuinely think that Eddie's parents were kind of just like that.
Yeah. No, definitely. I'm sure there's like a lot of similarities. And also Jessica, the fact that Jessica was kind of getting so antsy, which kind of leads to my prediction, is that she's going to get a job in the next episode, because she said that she needs something to do. She's at home all day.
Yeah, she's really smart and she has so much energy. Yeah. And what do you think she's gonna go into?
I mean, I wouldn't say like helping out with the restaurant. I don't know if she's gonna, maybe something separate, but she might just surprise us with some like hidden. Well, I think in real life she's an ice skater, so she might like be like an instructor or something in the show.
Is she an ice skater? I had no idea.
Yeah. So maybe she'll do that in the show. That'd actually be fun to watch.
That would be amazing to watch. Yeah. And I bet you Constance would. I think she's so talented.
Yeah.
She's so talented.
She can sing.
She can sing. She's 26. She's playing this like, mother, and she pulls it off so effortlessly.
Yeah.
She really does.
Is going to be. She's like leading a group of Asian Americans who hopefully can play that role in Hollywood, because she's been talking a lot to the news and the press about how there's no TV out there that just show that diversity.
I know, exactly.
So the last thing I want to talk about is that poker game. That was funny.
Oh my god, I love Evan's squeal.
I know, he just kept screaming.
He's like, ah! It was just so adorable.
They're too funny.
I
love seeing their interaction. Yeah. They're so adorable too. Like, I would love to just like take them home with me.
Yeah, and I really identify or relate to the spending time with grandma, because I also grew up with my grandma. Yeah. And I just totally relate to that. I relate to this show on so many levels. Right. Yeah.
Definitely, which is why one of the reasons why we watch it. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about predictions. Do you have anything more about prediction wise? I think Jessica's gonna get a job. And
Dusty Nugget. Oh my god, he's so funny. I really love the moment when they're talking to each other in Mandarin, and the sexual harassment guy can understand what they're saying, and he gets like so sad.
Oh, that was one thing. One thing I want to say is that I have run into so many times with just people that I know, or just parents, my parents, about how it's like, you really don't like someone. Yeah. You speak your language.
Yeah, I know.
And it's so rare that someone understands.
It's so rude. It. I know, but people do it all the time.
Oh, yeah. You gotta do it.
People do it all the time.
That's a power to know another language. Okay, if someone's really bothering you. No, I'm just joking. Always speak nice, right? Yeah. All right, and do you have any news and gossip?
Oh gosh, not this week. No.
Okay. Well, there's one thing. Randall, he appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and he was just explaining about how his path was in terms of like getting his job. And one job he said that he had for a very long time was making graphic designs for ads for porn, or for prostitutes. So he was making he was making graphic designs on prostitution for a newspaper.
Wow.
And he was just like, that was like the longest job I had, and I didn't know what I was doing there.
Interesting.
I know. It's just it's a path of an actor, how it's such a struggle out here, but like when you make it, oh my God, like kudos to you guys, you know.
Yeah,
it's
seriously.
amazing. So
yeah. We need to try to get him in here too.
Oh yeah.
I'm working on it.
We will get the whole Fresh Off the Boat family in here.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to tonight's after show for Fresh Off the Boat. Definitely, again, check us out on youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV and subscribe, and keep commenting and letting us know what you think. You know, this is a show where we can have so much discussion outside about diversity, about themes. So don't feel afraid to reach out to us. You can follow me on Twitter at Kanika Lal, and Instagram at Kanika Lal1.
Yes, and you guys can tweet at me with your questions and comments at ms_Junlee. I always mess that up. And at Instagram too, without the underscore, MSJUNELEE.
It's written there, don't worry.
Yeah.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.